What's up? Now, let's talk about who we are as, exactly what we are. We are fans. Doesn't matter what topic it is, doesn't matter what genre. It could be about anything. You'll find a large group of people who are fans. It could be a fan of a artist, a fan of a spokesperson. Just in general, it could be anything. The fandom properties can go as large into the world of collecting. For example, there's anime, mangas, comic books, albums, cassettes, CDs, even toys. See, there's nothing wrong with being a fan. Being a fan is something where you should take pride in, have passion about. The fact that you have a good knowledge range further beyond, or may not have that much of a education in it, but you feel compassionate enough to be a part of it. I mean, any form of entertainment, it could be sports oriented or not. It could be anything. It could be something that kind of, in a way, helps you be yourself when reality seems to be hitting you hard. There's nothing wrong with being a fan. What you do as a fan, that can be questionable, but overall, it shouldn't be disrespected. Now, here's what I mean, because even within a fandom, when you're in a group of people, like you see a bunch of people that you're like, oh my god, they're into that. Oh, I need to jump in. I want to get in on that. And you invite yourself in, you guys talking things, like for example, it could be about wrestling. It could be about, well, for my case, it could be about, well, I'm into everything, but it could just be about, say, for example, alright, I'm going to use myself. Linkin Park. Yes, I'm a fan of their music. And say I find a group of people who are also fan of Linkin Park. They wear the shirt, they know the lyrics beginning to end, they know the album, they know the copyright date, they know the years, all that stuff. Me, I enjoy the band and their music. I'm I'm not gonna memorize what year or break down a definition of what they were really talking about in the lyric, because to me the lyric should be defined by who the listening person is. Now, say I'm joining with this group and we're talking Linkin Park, we're talking about the members, and then all of a sudden somebody looks at me and goes, "Oh, you're a fan of Linkin Park too?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, they're really good. I enjoy their stuff." And then he goes, "Oh, so you got all their album?" Now, truthfully told, I do not have every album of Linkin Park. There are some albums I'm not gonna lie I do not have as part of my Linkin Park I wouldn't say collection, but of the albums that I currently have. But that's my choice. I mean, some of the albums weren't fitting for my taste, or maybe I didn't have money at the time, or maybe I knew somebody that had that album and we already listened to it, and I borrowed it so many times to the point where it's like I don't have a need for the album, or it could be plethora of reasons. But the albums I do have, to me, makes up enough to make me feel like yes, I enjoy Linkin Park. But then the person goes, "Oh, you're not a true fan then." A true fan would have every one of their albums, even their live albums and DVDs. What? And you find this mental bigotry in any form of fandom. That's the thing that's retarded. Like, say you go to an anime convention and you find a group of people talking about Slayers, like how good it was back in the day when they were out live on TV, or how hard it was for them to find the complete edition of the Slayer. You walk up into that group and you're like, "Oh yeah, Slayers are awesome," and you can memorize certain episodes, but you don't have the complete, you know, collection of them. but you do have enough where you know the characters by heart, but you don't know all their origins, or you don't know every little, like, oh, this character was really a tribute to that character. And you can be like, oh, I didn't know that. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh, then you must not be a true fan of Slayers then if you didn't know that. Everybody's supposed to know that. It's like, I don't see where this bigotry comes from. It's like, either you're not nerdy enough, or you have to defend your wallet to be a true fan. To me, that don't make sense. That really don't. Why it seem like people are becoming more tribalistic, especially in something that is considered a hobby, something that, for example, you could be a sports jock, or a sports nerd, or a sport geek, whatever. Say you're a huge, huge football fan, like hardcore. Well, you thought you was, till you hung out with a group of other football fans. Could be for your favorite team. Y'all cheering hardcore. Then somebody hits you up with a trivia question like, oh, who is the quarterback for I'm trying to think. Okay, who's the quarterback for the New York Giants back in 1987? You could be like, I wasn't born, or I wasn't around at the time, so I don't know. Then you're not a Giants fan. Get out of here. What? Or, somebody could hit you up with, alright, you're a basketball fan, right? Yeah, who is your favorite team? Chicago Bulls. What was Michael Jordan's number in Chicago Bulls? That's easy, 23. Uh-huh. What was his number when he joined the Wizard, was it? I don't know. Get out of here. Phony. It's like, things like, what I'm trying to get at with all these analogies and examples and stuff like that is, where does bigotry come from? Why can't, it's like, it's hard enough to find acceptance as a fan of whatever it is. And sometimes people look weird at you. Like for me, I'm a fan of Transformers. And I enjoy, I don't enjoy every representation of Transformers, but I do know what I like, and I am kind of picky. In terms of, to the point where it's like, I like to collect Transformer toys. Or slash figure, because I know somebody's out there probably saying, they're not toys, they're figures. Okay, whatever. Transformers, I like collecting them. Obviously, if y'all seen some of my past videos, it's pretty evident. And I still do to this day. I don't have every Transformer that was ever made or produced. And the reason for that is because me, as a person, personality-wise, I'm very picky. So there are some where I could just be like, I don't really like that one, but I think it's cool that it exists. I mean, I'm okay with that. And I do have friends who are completionists. They will get the figure even though they may not, it may not fit what they find ideally is a favorite, but they get them anyway. Which I'm not judging. There are people who have that certain niche. My niche is I'm picky. I know what I'm looking for. I know what turns me off. I know what I do like. But I'm not going to talk down on a completionist, and I sure as hell ain't going to have a completionist talk down on me when it comes to Transformers. There are some Transformer fans that don't even collect the Transformer toys or figures or action representation. They collect comics. I have a friend who, when he was a kid, his parents, they worked really hard. Their money was always tight. They weren't like the richest, but they did want to provide him with some form of peace of childhood. So they always got him comic books. That's all he knew. He knows nothing else except comics. I mean, obviously he do have education and everything, but in terms of childhood nostalgia, comic books. And obviously what ranked as some of his favorite were Transformers. This guy me and him, and this scenario does happen. We could be sitting down or we be on the phone and we're talking, and then all of a sudden I'm like, hey, guess what I found? I found this, so, and then he'll be like, all right, that's cool, but do you know about this? And instead, it's not condescending. It opens my eyes a little bit because we're having a conversation, which confirmed our fandom of Transformers. But did you know, like, if you go to I don't know, BotCon, San Diego Comic Con, or any form of con where there's a Transformer section, there's going to be people that, like, oh, you're not a true fan of Transformer because so-and-so. Stop defending the Wallace. You don't have to be extremely that nerdy or that delved in to be considered not a fan. Being a fan is just plain and simple being compassionate and enjoying something that you actually like and finding a group of people that like the same thing. I'm into a lot of things, but one thing I'm not into is talking down somebody because they may not know of something or they may not have a completion of something or whatever. I like meeting new people for the simple fact that either A, it helped broaden my horizon and knowledge of myself, and B, there may be some information out there that I didn't know of that would be really cool to find out. But one thing I never do, ever, is condescend somebody because they're not at that quota of a true fan. Because there's no such thing as true fan. Just fan. A true fan's supposed to do this. No, they don't. A true fan gotta watch every Michael Bay Transformer movie in support of Transformers. Not really. A true fan gotta have every Linkin Park album and their live performances, DVDs, and all that stuff. Bullshit. I understand the band members of Linkin Park. They appreciate that you spent money and you showed that much support. But you don't have to go that extreme unless you want to. That's the thing. People have the option to. But it's not demanded to. Same thing like I said, I went to an anime convention and I witnessed this. And it actually pissed me off. This guy bringing his girlfriend. They went into this convention. I didn't know who they were, but I can obviously tell the guy was an extreme fan, and his girlfriend, you can tell she was like probably getting into it a little bit because of him, but at the same time she was enjoying herself. He comes up to this table. They have video games, and that's where I was. Obviously I'm a fan of video games, but these were like anime style video games. It fit the anime theme. And he picks up this cartridge from the Sega Genesis, Valis. And she was like, "Oh, what's that?" And he was like trying his best to explain. So I'm not nosy, but he was talking loud enough. But he was like, well, it was like as if he's trying to find the right words to inform her that you basically play as a female with sort of like somewhat revealing clothing, but has a basic storyline, but good action, good style, and everything. But he was like, well, it was like as if he didn't want to tell her the whole thing, like it might have upset her, upset her. So I was like, oh, you just played this high school personality who finds out that she, has this power, I helped build it up. And he was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And me and him started getting in conversation. The guy that was selling the game was like, oh, so you played that game. And he said, yeah. And he go, did you know there's another Valis game with it? And the guy's like, oh, wow, really? I didn't know. I'm a huge fan of Valis, but I didn't know there was another one. And the guy immediately, now this is a seller. What the? He looks at him, he was like, and you say you're a fan of Valor. You didn't know that? And his girlfriend was like, well, I didn't know it. He was like, noob. Noob. I opened my mouth. Oh, God. I opened my mouth. See, a lot of things my friend can say is, I can be evil to the right people. It depends on who the person is. I could be downright, just straight up evil. I'm not going to repeat what I said, but let me put it down like this. That seller do not like me. I made him shut his mouth so fast. He knew he fucked up. Everybody heard me. I put him on blast. And just for that, he had to get somebody else to cover the table because he was so embarrassed. There was no way he could, talk back to me. I left him no choice but to leave. And the other guy was like, is there something I can help you with? And I was like, no, you're good, you're cool. Yeah, he's interested in the Balance game and also the other one. I think that guy was trying to sell it to him, but he sucked at it. And the guy looked at me, he was like, well, okay. And he looked at the other guy, and the guy was like, oh, I was just telling her about the game. I don't need to buy it. And the dude came back, and he apologized to the kid and his girl. Even though it wasn't like right away, it was probably later in the day. I didn't know. I was on the other end of the anime convention. But the guy walked up to me with his girlfriend like, dude, thank you. And yeah, that guy, he ended up apologizing. The girl was like, yeah. He even gave us a good deal on those games. Which I was like, oh, that's good. He should. But I still don't get it. Why do we have to defend our fandom? What's the point? We're supposed to be embracing each other. Supposed to be happy. Life always full of negativity. It's sometimes hard for a person to find a piece of happiness in anything. And when we find a group of people that like the same stuff that we like, that can expand our knowledge of who we are, that's great. That's awesome. Why do that? Why do that?